On today's episode, I'm joined by the one and only Miriam Abadi. Miriam is the founder of TRU&Beyond, a platform which speaks the truth on beauty and wellness brands and treatments. On the TRU&Beyond website, Miriam is described as an entrepreneur, editor, influencer, mother, and wife. But if that isn't enough, Miriam is no doubt an international role model to entrepreneurial women and a huge inspiration to career changers. During the episode, Miriam talks about TRU&Beyond. She reveals why she is passionate about promoting no-nonsense wellness and beauty brands and gives her professional opinion on how the industry has and is changing. Miriam also provides in-depth advice on how to develop an online platform and how to create partnerships and collaborations with brands and influencers. And because we know it's important to maintain a healthy well-being whilst establishing yourself and running a demanding business, Miriam shares her advice on how to structure your day to incorporate you time and avoid burnout. So make sure you stick around for that.
Hi, Steph. How are you?
Oh, good. Thank you. Welcome to the show. It's so great to have you here.
Same here. I'm super excited to be here with you, and thank you so much for the introduction. It's very flattering what you said, but it's like I just feel like it's just it's a very small like I feel like you just talked so highly about me, and I just feel like I'm still at the tip of my iceberg of what I really want to do. But thank you so much for the nice introduction.
Oh, you're welcome, and don't be modest. You're totally making waves. It's incredible to see.
Thank you.
So I'm not gonna lie, I've got a lot of questions for you just because it's so interesting and what you do is so amazing. So I will get stuck into them.
Let's go.
Let's do it. Can you briefly explain your career background for us?
Okay, so very briefly, the way I started is I started in corporate and FMCG very early on. So I was still in university when I got hired, and my main goal was, just to be super independent. I always wanted, to, not depend on anyone and really like just, make it on my own. So I started off very early. I started in finance. I studied finance, but then I realized like this is not what I am or what I want to do. So I moved to marketing, and this is when my career really, starts taking off, because when you feel you're in the right place, it just things come to you without forcing them. So I spent 13 years of my life working in marketing for FMCG, traveled the world, learned a huge deal. At one point in my career, I started to, I saw this whole social media like doing really big waves, and I was like, you know what, let me start this as well, because it was super interesting to me in terms of marketing, because I felt, if I want to reach millions of people, how can we do it from a marketing perspective? So this is how I really started it. I started to do my own, because fashion at that time, fashion, beauty, wellness was always like a passion of mine, but I really never, tapped into it. So I started to, to build my own page, and it started doing really, really well alongside my corporate job. So to be honest with you, I had a lot of burnouts throughout my career, because I was always a very big achiever. I wanted to do so many things, and you can't do it all. I have 2 kids, I have a wonderful husband, and I felt, I need to choose at one point. So in 2019, end of 2019, I left my corporate job, I started TRU&Beyond alongside my page, which is against all odds, but I just followed my gut at that point.
I think that following your gut is so important, and when you have a burning desire to do something, you should be open to exploring different things, and if it can take you down a different path, maybe not one that you thought you would go on, I think it's really incredible when you can follow that and you can really make it into something excellent, like really following life's journey. So I think that's amazing what you've done, and we're going to come back to how you were able to really launch the business a little bit later.
Sure.
But before we get on to that part, I just want to ask, what exactly is TRU&Beyond, and who can benefit from following its content?
So TRU&Beyond, to tell you, it's a platform. It's an online beauty and wellness magazine, but it's a little bit more than that. So when I obviously started to be on social media, I always saw so much things discussed on beauty and wellness, and I never really felt that there was a filter and what is right and what is wrong. And there's so much information, and I was like, how can I ever filter it for myself? What is creating value for myself? And I realized that it has become so commercial that I just said, why don't I create a platform in the Middle East that really cuts through all the clutter that is there and really give valuable information to women and even men in the region, about everything beauty, because and skin, to be very honest, is my passion. But like during COVID, I realized wellness is the overarching umbrella on all of this, because if you're not feeling okay from the inside, you could have the most beautiful skin, or be the prettiest person, but it goes down to the inside, what you eat, how you feel, who you surround yourself with. So this is why I have lots of psychologists, a lot of dietitians, like, because food plays a very important role in our gut, and our gut produces 80% of our happiness hormones. So it's I wanted to build a 360 platform for everyone, and to really make sure that everyone who goes on it has something that builds value for them.
And I think that what you're doing, your message is so inspiring. And when you're talking about building it from the inside, it's so important, because
Absolutely.
for me, when I'm feeling good on the inside, it gives me great confidence. I think that, people walk around and they produce a more radiant glow. It does come from the inside. And what you've done there and harnessing that is really just, I think it's just amazing.
Thank you.
And talking about like the wellness as well as the beauty, for me, when I first started exploring this kind of industry, it was when I started working at a dermatology clinic.
Mm-hmm.
And they were really big on SPF, as they should be, and how a lot of people are now discovering that, SPF is an absolutely must-have in every cosmetic bag. And I found it quite scary how some brands were marketing themselves as this incredible SPF, but really they didn't have the core ingredients in that would really protect them from the UVA and UVB and
Yes.
whatever else you need. So for a platform like yours to be able to help people cut through all of that, I think is just amazing. So from the inside, the wellness being like the umbrella, incredible. Where were you and what were you doing when you had the light bulb moment or the vision of creating TRU&Beyond?
Like, it's Steph, when your life has such a fast pace, when you're working in a multinational company, I never really ever had time to sit down and to really think. And if there's anything I can give to someone, or whoever is having this fast-paced environment, is that really taking time off is extremely important. And I had a nervous breakdown that led me to really leave, and I really had no clue about what I wanted to do. But when I just sat at home with my family, with my kids, when I looked inside, because there's so many questions that are answered by yourself, you just have to really look. This is when I started to really to understand what I wanted to do, what my desires are, what my passions are in life, really. And I really followed this guts of following my passion, which was always making people feel good, and sharing, and adding value in other people's lives. For me, this makes me truly happy. It took me like I think 6 months of really not being able in this fast-paced workplace to have time for myself, to relax, which for me was always like kind of a punishment. Oh my God, Miriam, you're relaxing. That's bad. You shouldn't be. So really, it took me like 6 months. It was like not one moment, but it's like a build-up of just, being able to spend time with myself.
A bit like a work in progress, just taking each day at a time, kind of learning
Absolutely.
a little bit more and building upon that.
Absolutely.
I think that that's really a really good message to give to people. I think that, even my question was that, what's that light bulb moment? People think things are instantaneous, and it's really not like that. It's like, from, what you've just said, it sounds like maturity, trying things and realizing that something's not working and then trying something else. So, it's just that constant, little bit every day, and building upon it, which I
Yeah.
think is a really good message.
I think for me, this is it. That was it. It's just a build up, giving yourself the luxury to have just time for yourself. I mean, this is like, I can't value this. I would not stress on it enough, because the time that is there, that's made for you, is something that you should really value and consider it as sacred. Even if you have family around you, friends, your husband, you have to spend time with yourself. You have to give time to yourself. This is extremely important.
So I'm sure that there's probably times that you are required to, maybe work 7 days a week when you've got a project on, or you're just super busy doing something.
Yeah.
That I'm sure that there will always be those times in your life. But an example, on a average week, I'm sure that you're busy all the time, but on an average week, do you ensure that you take a full day off? Do you maybe work every day, but shorter amounts? How do you balance that?
For me, there's like, balance is a very difficult term, to just, break it down and say, what, I'm going to work from Monday to Friday, and, I'm just going to, take it like that. But, like, when I have like a full week or a full weekend of full week project, I just make sure that the week after I schedule in, I give myself a morning for myself, or, it's like, if you just balance it out, and then sometimes along the way you feel suffocated with things, and it just started building up, and then is when you apologize, when you say, I'm very sorry guys, but I cannot make it for this and this, and it's just putting yourself first. I mean, there's no real formula for that, but it's just, you need to listen to your body, and I'm doing this more and more and more. And then, and to balance it out, even though if you have a project that takes 7 days, you do it, you give it your all, but then afterwards you make sure that you schedule in time for yourself and your family.
That makes sense. And then you're ready, energized to go for the next 7-day project.
Absolutely.
You've got going on.
Absolutely.
Were there any particular moments in your life that have made you very passionate about promoting no-nonsense wellness and beauty brands?
I don't know, but I was always, all my life, I was a super straightforward person. I don't know, maybe because my mom is German. I grew up in Germany. My dad is Lebanese. So I have everything of both cultures, the Middle Eastern and the European. But I think I'm a very, very straightforward person. I don't like to, waste my or anyone's time. So it was always kind of in my personality, and I think it's just it just came naturally.
I love that a no nonsense attitude just comes naturally to you. Is there more of an appetite at the moment for wellness or beauty articles? And if so, why do you think this is?
I think wellness, health stuff is on everyone's mind right now, especially mental health. And especially after everything that we went through in the past 2 years, and everyone really started to value health more than anything else. And so I feel wellness is like on the top of the list.
So have you ever been close to working with a brand that has perhaps not had wellness at their heart? because I know that you don't work with those people, so I there is so much clever marketing going on that these companies label themselves, as I was saying with the SPF. Have you ever been close to working with one of those people? And how do you draw the line of, I'll work with you and sorry, but I'll kindly decline your offer to collaborate?
Okay, so I think no is a very big word that I started using recently, because when you're just starting, you want to be everywhere, and you want to be acknowledged everywhere, but you need to be very selective going forward. So when there's a brand that really doesn't resonate with me and TRU&Beyond's ethos, then there's definitely no way I will work with. But let me give you a small example. For example, I was working with a very, very big brand, I think a month ago, on a big campaign. And it was about forming a skincare routine in the morning. And there was no SPF in there. Okay, so I said to the team, listen, if you want me to be credible in whatever message I'm giving, then in the end of my routine, there needs to be an SPF. And on the contrary, the brand was really, really, really happy that I brought this up, because if you don't have SPF in your skincare routine, it basically doesn't mean anything. So on the contrary, when there's a brand that is ethical and that really understands what skincare means, they will gladly accept what you're bringing to the table.
Amazing. Well done, Miriam. Fighter for everything true and ethical. I love it.
Yeah, of course.
So what skills did you develop during your career in corporate that were useful when launching and subsequently running your own business?
What I learned during corporates, I think the most important thing, and that I will always value, is discipline. And there will be days, to be very honest with you, where I feel very down, and like when a deal doesn't work out, or when I feel business is not moving as fast as I would like to, if there's hiccups or all of these things that make your mind heavy, was that you have to get up, you have to go to the office, you have to create the content, you have to be an inspiration for a team. You cannot just sit there and say, it's just one of these days. No, discipline and consistency for me are extremely important. And I learned this during corporate. I mean, you have to show up, you have to do the presentations, you have to, consistently move upwards, even if it's a tiny, tiny, tiny step. And so I think this is what I really, really learned in my 13 years of corporate. Discipline on yourself is extremely important.
Do you think there's somebody that that's something that's born into people, or you can kind of like train yourself to become more disciplined? Do you think there's a little bit of both?
I think you can learn anything that you want to, if you just put your mind to it. I don't think anything is impossible. I think you can, of course, you have a certain set of skills that come with you when you're born, but I don't think there's anything that you cannot learn, or if you just put your mind to it. The mind is extremely powerful, I tell you.
Yeah, you just have to want it, I suppose.
Absolutely.
What do you think are the most important personal and maybe professional attributes that a beauty and wellness content creator can possess? And are these skills the same for a CEO of the business?
I think authenticity. When you're authentic, I think this is when things start to move, and this is when people will believe you. And this applies to being a content creator or a CEO or whatever. Like, I've worked with very senior people, and the people that, on the long term, that stayed in their positions were the ones that really cared and that were authentic about the business. And as well for content creators, in the long term, you need to think long term, right? So if you want to really create a brand or something that people believe in and that they use and that works, it has to be good, it has to be authentic. So for me, authenticity is the answer.
I think that's really important as well. So in an article, what are the most important details to include to provide to your readers with a true picture of of the product or treatment that you're reviewing. So what is the most important message to get across, I suppose?
I think there are two things, Steph. One of them is whenever I sit down with a brand or with the content or with the creator of a brand, or whoever I sit with, is like the first question I ask them is like, what is your superpower? A cream cannot do everything at the same time, or a wellness center cannot provide everything. So what is your superpower? What can I focus on? What can we focus on to really add value to people's lives? So for example, if I talk about a cream for acne prone skin and its benefits, it doesn't mean that it will work for me or for you, but for the people that really have the skin problem. So I really want to filter it down. So and I think this is number one. And also it's about the story. The storytelling is also always very, very important. Why did this brand come to life? What is the inspiration behind it? What is the why is it there? What is the reason it's there? And this always inspires people, and you can relate to it. I started to talk about skincare because I had horrible skin, and I always felt I was not powerful enough, or I was always like very intimidated to go somewhere because my skin didn't look good. So, and people can relate to that, which is very normal. You know what I mean? It's just we're just human beings, and we all have insecurities. And something relatable to the audience is always a very, very big plus.
Yeah, I suppose when there's a narrative behind a brand or treatment, people are more inclined to connect to it, as you said, and remember it. It's going to stick in their mind if you tell them a story about it and paint them a real picture.
The human story. We're all humans. We're all valuable, vulnerable, and we all have things that we're insecure about or that we want to improve, and it's just normal. It's just a normality. Nobody is perfect.
So you really are kind of like going into that brand and showing them for everything they are. You're really, it's in the name, isn't it? It's showing them the true and beyond, I suppose. So I guess that's how you put your what's the word? Your tone to it, I suppose.
Yes, correct. Absolutely.
So how did you go about putting a business plan together for TRU&Beyond? And did you need, for example, funding? And how did you secure it? How did it really launch?
To be honest with you, I didn't have a business plan. I didn't know what I was doing in the first place. I had no idea. I just started. I hired a team. I know what my expenses were in the beginning. So, and I was like, okay, I need to just start somewhere. And, slowly and surely, I started getting lots of collaborations with brands. And this is when I started building my business plan. Let's say if I hire one more person, if I expand my office, what would that cost me? So in the beginning, I actually had no idea what I was doing and how I will be profitable at one point. So it took me some time. So I just started off without thinking much, and then I took it to the next level. So basically, this is it.
Fantastic. You know what? I've heard from a couple of people that when they first started their businesses, they didn't have a business plan at all. And I love hearing it because it shows that you've got confidence, and it shows that you really have it in you to really steer business, and what is right for your brand. So I always love hearing those stories, and they've always seemed to take off. And I think it also shows to people that you don't need to have everything figured out in the beginning. And I think that's possibly what holds a lot of people back, not having the confidence and feeling like stuck, that they don't have either a business degree or any experience. You really can make moves just by having an idea. That's all it takes, is just one idea.
Absolutely.
So how can aspiring entrepreneurs put such plans into place and make things happen for themselves, do you think, that after they've just got this one idea?
You know what? Overthinking will never solve it. I think you just have to have the courage in yourself, to believe in yourself, to go for it. And one of the things that I'm still working on a lot is I'm always super afraid to make mistakes, because I was such a high performer, and I always was working, to get the best reviews, the best whatever. And I was always I never wanted to do a mistake. but you know what, mistakes is normal. You do them every single day, and it's just, improving, and it's fine. It's you shouldn't really worry about what other people think, because if you do a mistake, it's fine. You learn from it and you move on. So I think this is also one advice that I would give to everyone who's starting their business.
That's really great advice. Thank you. So when you were first launching TRU&Beyond, how did you decide what brands to feature, and how did you create relationships with those brand owners that you have partnered with? And is it the same process now as it was at the very beginning?
In the very beginning, of course, I used to reach out to the brands and, the content creators and the founders that really, really inspired me. And in the beginning, I got lots of no's, but also lots of yeses, because, many people really love the idea behind it. And again, it's all about, bringing out, filtering everything that's out there and giving true value to people around us. So that wasn't the beginning. Now it's a mix of both. Actually, lots of brands are reaching out to me, which is amazing. And what I find really, really incredible is that when someone pitches my story as Miriam to a big brand, they show them TRU&Beyond, and brands are loving the idea of having this, this platform. And this is what keeps me going, really. And what keeps me going is talking to people like you, and to really have these conversations going on and on and on, and to just improve day by day.
Well, thank you for that. That's a really kind comment, and
absolutely, it's
really
a
great
pleasure.
advice again. So how do you stay ahead of wellness and beauty trends?
I am constantly researching. I'm constantly talking to people, and then when you, like, the last time I was talking to a founder of a perfume brand, and then she introduced me to other people that are just building one brand, and it's just you're just growing your network of people, and you're learning, and you're researching. You need to keep an open mind about what's happening. And so it's just there's no real science to it, but it just happens. Things start coming to you, and you start to really accomplish and to see lots of trends that are happening. And my team that are working on this 24/7 also do lots of research on a daily basis on that.
So just really talking to people,
yes.
Bouncing ideas of
Yeah.
Other people, just keeping an open mind.
Absolutely.
What are the most important things to consider when designing a website like yours?
I will put it very simply for you. It just has to be user friendly. It has to be appeal. Sometimes I go to websites and there are a million things that pop up, and it makes me super nervous, and I just want to get out of it. So I really want to dedicate it to someone who wants something very quick and very easy to read, and no much fluff. Just straight to the point.
I know that when I've got a little bit of experience building WordPress websites, and when I first started doing that, it was a lot to get my head around. So many different things to choose from, but I always found the most appealing ones were, like, the monotone ones, just something not too busy, but something that's very sophisticated and looks very smart, and looks like genuine. And I think that's really what you've got.
Exactly.
Just genuine, authentic.
Absolutely.
What is, in your opinion, a key risk or challenge that content creators should bear in mind, and how do you advise mitigating this potential risk?
Okay, there's always going to be a risk that, even if you do all your research on a brand or content, or any founder, I mean, there's always going to be a kind of, like, let's say I interviewed a founder of a brand in the very early beginning of my career, and this founder used to really, really, really represent, like, I used to love the brand that she created. However, there was like a problem with her, because apparently she had created fake reviews on the website. So people were like, why are you talking to her? She's her reviews are not right, whatever. So I hadn't done enough research as I should have. And this will always kind of backlash on you, because whatever you're trying to create is real. However, her products are really great. So it's also, like, there's always going to be like a risk that people do not, that not everyone likes your content, but you really have to, again, balance it off between yourself and your conscience. Is that something that's going to hurt people? Definitely not, because their products are great. Did she do a mistake in the past of faking reviews? I'm not sure if this is 100% correct or not. Yes, it's wrong. Yeah. So it's you really need to you need to follow your gut feeling in this, because to be honest, you can't make everyone happy in the end of the day. Yeah.
So moving on now into kind of like the wellness section of the podcast, how do you ensure, well, I guess we've really kind of touched on this one at the beginning, but my question was, how do you ensure that you manage your time efficiently?
Again, Steph, there's no recipe to this, but for example, like my morning workouts, I really like, they're sacred for me. So if I have someone who trains me in the morning, and for example, these things I try not to move. In the evening when I come home, I really try to not look at my phone for the next 2 hours and really spend time with my husband and my kids. So there are like few things that you put as a discipline in your life that helps you balance things off as much as I can. But again, there's no real balance in my point of view.
Yeah. So you've got your non-negotiables, if you like, the things that you that make you that you stick to, and
absolutely
the rest you just have to
you have to navigate,
juggle in a way, but do it in an efficient way.
True.
Every day is different, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. How do you cope with stress of running a business?
One thing, so I think when you find something that you're really, really passionate about, a hobby or whatever, for me, this is my therapy. Where I switch off, it's when I do my horseback riding. So for me, this is my therapy. This is where I clear my mind. I go into I go on the back of a horse and I'm super stressed and I'm tense and I feel like my mind's all over the place. And when I'm done, I just feel, like as someone turned a page in my crazy, head, and everything is fine. Like everything can be solved. So when you find that hobby or that me time or whatever, whether it's painting or whatever it is, hold on to it and capitalize on it. That I would give to everyone. Like this advice is extremely, like, for me, it's very valuable.
I think that's really good advice. I can relate with the horseback riding. I do find animals very calming in themselves. So yeah, it's important for people to find what kind of like makes them calm. So if listeners out there are not sure what that is, I do recommend like trying different things to really kind of like harness what it is that gives them that knows the pressure from them.
Absolutely.
So this is a question that I'm excited to hear your answer to.
Okay.
What are your top 3 products or treatments that keep you looking and feeling your best?
Okay, so feeling, I think it's always going to be horseback riding, because this is, for me, it's my time to really, really switch off. So for me, this is extremely important. As a treatment, what I really, really love and what I'm really obsessed with is the PRP, which is not with a dermapen, but really like with a dermatologist or a doctor to put it under your skin. So I feel this really helps with the glow, and it's natural, and it plumps your face, and you really have this incredible glow, and it's anti-aging, which is extremely important to me. So I always look for things to prevent rather than treat. And SPF. I think these 3 things, and I would never give up on.
Do you know what? I've never had PRP done before, but a surgeon who I used to work with in the clinic that I worked in, called Mr. Amar, he'd been on the podcast before. He spoke about the PRP, and it looks like such an incredible treatment. As you were saying, it's prevention rather than cure. And and it looks like it just makes you very radiant and building that, you know, confidence, as we were speaking about before, from the inside out. So that's definitely one to look at, I think, for me anyway.
Absolutely. I think the more you can go natural without any fillers, the better. Always, you know, try to go the natural way. That's what of course I do Botox. I love Botox. I can't live without Botox, but I had overfilled my face and I had them removed. So now you really have to be careful with what you want to put inside your face.
Do you think that is something that people are doing? Because I have been around Botox and fillers for a number of years now, but really, probably, if we're pinning it down, for me, I saw a big rise in it when, you know, Kylie was on Snapchat and, you know, her lip fillers, and I saw a huge wave of young adults, you know, getting these injectables. Do you think that that's declining or maintaining?
I think so. I think it's really declining, Steph. And I think in the beginning, nobody really had any kind of education about it. And, you know, at one point, fillers in your face will make you look older than, you know, on the contrary, what the initial purpose was to make you look younger and more radiant and more rested. And if it's done, if it's overdone, let's put it that way, it really makes you look older than you're supposed to. So people are much more educated than before. You know, fillers is not something that has been around for a very long time. You know, same goes for breast augmentation. Remember, like 10, 15 years ago, everyone used to have huge, you know, implants, and, you know, it doesn't look nice. You know, people are much more going into the natural direction.
Yeah, you're right with it can make you look older.
Yeah,
you're right as well. There is a lot more information around, so people are aware. But where there was so much of a hype around it, I could see younger people going in and saying, oh, I just want, like, for an example, my cheeks done. But you know, they don't quite understand that by just isolating these areas, you know, if you get your cheeks done, your under eye can look very dark and hollow and make you look older.
Yeah, absolutely.
So guys, do your research, check out Miriam's website. I'm sure she will mention all of this stuff on there. So, best piece of advice for being a successful entrepreneur?
Follow your gut, simply.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you so much. You've been an amazing guest and given us so much advice and tips on how to build a business and to look after ourselves. So thank you so much for joining us, Miriam.
Honestly, Steph, you're an amazing host. You really do your research well on people. You really make people comfortable in, you know, everything that you do. So keep on what you're doing. I will make sure that, you know, I you know, whenever you need a question, or if you ever have any you know, you need any advice, I'm always going to be here, because I think you're doing a fantastic job. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Miriam.